They mocked humanity, until we spoke the forgotten language of their ancestors. The council chamber of the Galactic Union was a towering cathedral of light and sound, filled with representatives of species from across the stars. Each race displayed its cultural grandeur in their attire, languages, and technology. Among them, the humans sat in quiet dignity, the only species that had yet to contribute anything of note to the assembly. For years, humans had been a subject of ridicule. Despite their cleverness and adaptability, their technological level was deemed primitive by the Union's standards. They were tolerated, not respected. The humans are here," sneered Representative Koresh of the Throxxian Dominion, his voice dripping with condescension. His species was known for their crystalline exoskeletons and an ego that gleamed just as brightly. "Come to present another lecture on farming techniques, perhaps, or will it be more poetry from your primitive minds?" Laughter rippled through the chamber. Ambassador Elena Vargas stood, her face impassive. She was a statuesque figure with keen eyes that betrayed no emotion. "We do not seek approval, Koresh," she said simply. "We seek understanding." "Understanding? Of what?" "Galactic plumbing?" Koresh's words provoked another wave of laughter, but this time, Elena smiled. "Of you," she replied. Months earlier, a human archaeological team on a distant world stumbled upon ruins older than most species in the Union could fathom. The markings on the walls were indecipherable at first, but the team's curiosity and persistence paid off. The language belonged to a species long thought extinct, the Erythians, an enigmatic race whose remnants were little more than myth. What they discovered shocked them. The Erythian symbols bore uncanny similarities to ancient human languages. With painstaking work, they deciphered fragments of the text and learned of a civilization that once ruled the stars, only to fall into ruin. The knowledge was brought to the Galactic Union under the utmost secrecy. Human linguists, archaeologists, and historians spent sleepless nights decoding the language and its intricacies, preparing for the day they would reveal their findings. That day had arrived. Ambassador Vargas stepped forward, activating a holoprojector. A cascade of glowing symbols filled the chamber, swirling and shifting like a living tapestry. "This," she said, her voice firm and clear, "is the language of the Erythians, a species whose history predates this union by millennia." The room fell silent. Even the ever-sneering Koresh tilted his crystalline head in surprise. "And you expect us to believe humans unraveled this mystery?" scoffed Koresh. Elena ignored him. "We do not merely understand their language, we can speak it." She gestured toward a human linguist seated nearby. The linguist rose and began to recite a passage in the Erythian tongue. The sounds were haunting, like a melody sung by the stars themselves. The chamber resonated with an ancient, almost forgotten energy. The effect was immediate and profound. Many representatives froze, their eyes wide in shock. A few, including Koresh, recoiled as if struck. "How?" Koresh stammered, his usual arrogance replaced with something new, fear. "How do you know this?" Elena smiled faintly. "It seems humanity shares a connection with your past. Perhaps the Erythians were not as extinct as you believed. Perhaps their legacy lives on, in us." The chamber erupted into chaos. Some species whispered among themselves, their voices tinged with awe. Others protested loudly, questioning how such a revelation could be possible. But one thing was clear. The humans were no longer a laughingstock. Koresh rose to his feet, his crystalline body trembling. "This changes nothing. Humans are still inferior." "Silence," boomed a deep voice from the far end of the chamber. It belonged to the elder representative of the Elarin, a species revered for their wisdom and neutrality. "You mock them no longer. The language they speak is sacred to our ancestors as well." Gasps filled the chamber. The Elarin were one of the founding members of the Galactic Union, their history shrouded in mystery. If they acknowledged humanity's connection to the Erythians, it would forever change humanity's standing. Elena met the elder's gaze and inclined her head in respect. "We do not seek dominance or superiority," she said. "We seek to honor the past and build a future together." The elder nodded. "Then let it be so. Humanity has earned its place among us, not as equals, but as heirs to a legacy we thought lost." For the first time, humanity was not seen as insignificant. They were the keepers of a forgotten lineage, the bearers of a language that had shaped the galaxy long before the others had risen to power. And in that moment, the laughter ceased. The chamber remained tense in the aftermath of the revelation, the ethic with unspoken questions and shifting allegiances. For the first time in decades, humanity stood as more than a curiosity or a source of amusement. They were now a focal point of intrigue, suspicion, and begrudging respect. Elena Vargas remained calm under the scrutiny of countless eyes, though she could feel the weight of the moment pressing on her shoulders. She knew this was only the beginning. The elder representative of the Ellerin stepped forward. His presence alone commanded silence. Ambassador Vargas, the implications of your discovery are profound. You claim humanity has unraveled the language of the Erythians. Prove to us the depth of your understanding. Elena nodded and gestured to the linguist beside her. Drive, Miriam Cole. The scholar approached the central dais, her hands trembling slightly as she activated the holographic interface. The texts we uncovered, Drive, Cole began, her voice steadying with each word, contain not just linguistic records but also historical and scientific data. This passage, for example, describes the Erythian philosophy of cosmic balance. She began to read aloud in the ancient tongue, her voice resonating with an almost musical cadence. As the words filled the chamber, a subtle vibration hummed through the walls, lights flickered, and holograms of intricate geometric patterns materialized in the air, glowing with a soft, ethereal brilliance. The elder Ellerin inhaled sharply. That is an activation sequence, a code we believed lost. How did you know? Dr. Cole hesitated, glancing at Elena, who gave her a slight nod. We didn't know, not entirely. The patterns are encoded in the language itself. As we studied the syntax and structure, certain sequences seemed to resonate with specific technologies, artifacts we believed were inert. Koresh stood abruptly, his crystalline body emitting a faint, discordant hum. You tampered with ancient technology? Do you have any idea how dangerous? Enough, the elder Ellerin interrupted, his tone sharp. If they have reawakened the language, it is a sign. The Erythians left behind their legacy not to be forgotten, but to be rediscovered by those deemed worthy. Koresh's protest faltered, his arrogance now replaced by unease. And you think humans are worthy? They are children compared to us. Elena finally stepped forward, her voice cutting through the tension. Perhaps it is because we are children. Humanity is young, curious, and unburdened by the weight of centuries of conflict and stagnation. We are not blinded by arrogance or trapped by tradition. That is why we saw what you could not. Her words hung in the air, challenging yet undeniable. The representatives murmured among themselves, their gazes shifting from Koresh to the humans. The elder Ellerin raised his hand, silencing the assembly once more. There is much to consider, but first, we must see the full extent of what humanity has uncovered. Ambassador Vargas, you and your team will accompany us to the Vault of Origin. Elena's eyes widened. The Vault of Origin was a mythical site, rumored to hold the greatest secrets of the Erythian civilization. No species had ever claimed to find it. If it even existed, it would be an honor, she replied. Though her voice carried a cautious edge, she knew the risks of such a venture. A week later, a convoy of Union ships departed for a remote sector of the galaxy, the coordinates provided by the Ellerin Elder himself. The humans traveled aboard their modest vessel, dwarfed by the grandeur of their alien counterparts. Inside the human ship's command center, Elena and Drive, Cole reviewed the Erythian texts, searching for any clues about what they might find. The Vault of Origin, Drive, Cole muttered, her eyes scanning a holographic display. If the texts are accurate, it was more than a repository, it was a nexus, a place where the Erythians connected with something greater. Greater? Elena asked, leaning closer. What do you mean? Dr. Cole hesitated. I don't know, the translations are fragmented, but there's mention of the Song of Creation. It might be metaphorical, or it might be literal. Elena frowned. Let's hope it's the former. Little songs of creation rarely end well. When the convoy arrived at the designated coordinates, they found themselves orbiting a desolate planet, its surface covered in crystalline formations that shimmered like frozen starlight. The Ellerin Elder led the delegation, guiding them to a massive structure embedded in the planet's surface, a colossal gateway etched with Erythian symbols. As the humans approached, the gateway began to hum, its intricate carvings glowing faintly. Drive, Cole stepped forward, her voice steady as she spoke the activation sequence in the ancient tongue. The gateway shuddered, and with a resonant chime, it opened, revealing a vast chamber filled with light and shadow. The air was thick with an otherworldly energy, and as they stepped inside, the walls came alive with holographic projections, scenes of Erythian history, their achievements, their downfall. But at the center of the chamber stood something unexpected, a crystalline obelisk, pulsating with a rhythm that felt almost alive. "The song of creation," the elder Ellerin whispered, his voice trembling. "It is real." Elena stared at the obelisk, her heart pounding. Humanity had proven its worth, but now they faced an even greater challenge, unlocking the true legacy of the Erythians without repeating their mistakes. The chamber within the Vault of Origin pulsed with a strange rhythm, a low, harmonic vibration that seemed to resonate with the very molecules in the air. The crystalline obelisk at its center glowed faintly, its light shifting and swirling in response to the presence of the visitors. Everyone, from the humans to the elder Ellerin, stood in awe of the ancient construct. Ambassador Elena Vargas felt the weight of the moment more keenly than ever. The obelisk was no mere artifact, it was alive, in some sense, responding to their arrival. Dr. Miriam Cole stepped forward cautiously, her equipment buzzing faintly as she scanned the structure. "This isn't just a repository of knowledge," she murmured. "It's an interface, a nexus, just as the texts described." Koresh, still simmering with indignation, crossed his arms. "And what exactly do you propose to do with it? Poke it and hope it doesn't destroy us all?" Elena shot him a withering look. "We intend to approach it with respect and caution, something you might want to try." Koresh's crystalline form vibrated in irritation, but he remained silent. The Ellerin elder, however, gestured for calm. "Let them proceed. The obelisk has already responded to their presence in a way it has not for millennia. There is something about humanity it recognizes." The humans exchanged a glance. Drive, Cole, her hands trembling slightly, activated a translator device linked to her neural interface. She began to speak in the Erythian tongue, her voice reverberating through the chamber. The obelisk's glow intensified, the harmonic vibrations grew louder, filling the room with an almost musical quality. Suddenly, the crystalline structure shifted, its facets realigned, and beams of light projected into the air, forming a complex holographic array. The projections resolved into a figure, an ethereal being made of light, its form humanoid but indistinct, like a mirage. When it spoke, its voice was layered, as though countless voices were speaking in unison. "Seekers of the song, you have awakened what was long dormant. Who among you speaks for your kind?" Elena stepped forward, her voice steady despite the monumental pressure. "I am Ambassador Elena Vargas of humanity. We come in peace, seeking to understand your legacy and honor it." The figure tilted its head, its glowing eyes seeming to peer through her. "Humanity, an unexpected vessel of remembrance. You carry echoes of the Erythian lineage, yet you are not of us. Explain." "Drive," Cole interjected, her voice soft but firm. "We discovered remnants of your civilization, ruins, texts, artifacts. We studied your language and culture, piecing together what little we could. In doing so, we found fragments that resonated with our own ancient past. We believe we are connected, though we do not yet understand how." The figure remained silent for a moment, its form flickering. "Your claim is curious. If true, it is both a blessing and a warning. The Erythians reached too far, sought to command the song rather than harmonize with it. We fell as a result." The chamber grew colder, the vibrations deepening into a mournful tone. The figure raised a hand, and the holograms shifted, displaying scenes of the Erythian downfall, cities crumbling, stars dimming, and ships disintegrating in cosmic storms. "The song is the fabric of creation itself, the resonance of existence. To wield it without understanding is to invite destruction." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. Then why leave this knowledge behind? Why create a path for others to find it? To learn, to guide, to prevent others from repeating our mistakes. The figure's tone softened. "If you are to inherit our legacy, you must prove your wisdom. The song tests those who seek it. Are you prepared?" Elena exchanged a look with Drive, Cole and the other humans. This was the moment of truth. To back down now would confirm every criticism of humanity as a species too weak and fearful to face the unknown. "We are prepared," Elena said firmly. The figure extended its glowing hand, and the obelisk's light enveloped the humans. Each felt a surge of energy, a connection to something vast and incomprehensible. Images, sounds, and sensations flooded their minds, fragments of the song resonating with their thoughts. Dr. Cole gasped, her eyes wide with realization. It's not just knowledge, it's a way of thinking, of perceiving the universe. Koresh and the other alien representatives watched in stunned silence. The Eldarin elder stepped forward, his expression unreadable. And what do you see, humans? Elena's voice was filled with awe, potential, balance, the chance to build something greater, not just for us, but for all. The figure's light dimmed slightly, its form stabilizing. You have taken the first step, but the journey is far from over. The song demands harmony among all who would wield it. Continue to seek, to learn, and to unite, only then will you truly be worthy. The obelisk's glow began to fade, and the holograms dissolved. The chamber returned to its stillness, but the resonance lingered in the air, and in their hearts. As the group exited the vault, the Eldarin elder turned to Elena. Your people have shown great courage today, but remember, Ambassador, courage is only the beginning. The galaxy will be watching, and so will we. Elena nodded, determination in her eyes. We won't let the song fall silent again. The journey back from the Vault of Origin was eerily quiet, as if the weight of what had occurred silenced even the most talkative aboard the ships. Humanity had unlocked something profound, but with it came a responsibility that dwarfed their initial hopes of proving their worth to the Galactic Union. Ambassador Elena Vargas sat in the briefing room of the human vessel, her fingers tracing the edge of a tablet displaying the data they'd collected. Across from her, Dr. Miriam Cole looked equally lost in thought, the glow of the obelisk's lingering resonance still reflected in her wide eyes. They were right, Dr. Cole said softly. The song isn't just knowledge or technology, it's an understanding of the universe itself. A harmony that requires every piece to play its part. Elena nodded, her voice low. And if even one piece is out of tune, it could tear everything apart. Their conversation was interrupted by a chime, followed by the voice of their ship's captain. Ambassador Vargas, you're needed on the bridge. Incoming communication from the Galactic Union flagship. Elena sighed, standing and straightening her uniform. It's starting already. On the bridge, the holographic display flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of Koresh, his crystalline form reflecting the ambient light of his ship's command room. His expression was sharp and cold, his arrogance only slightly tempered by recent events. Ambassador Vargas, Koresh began, his voice dripping with false politeness. The Throxian Dominion demands a full accounting of the knowledge you uncovered in the vault. Such power cannot be trusted to a species as untested as yours. Elena folded her arms, her gaze steady. The knowledge we uncovered is not ours to give or withhold, Koresh. The obelisk responded to us because it recognized something in humanity. If your Dominion wishes to engage with the legacy of the Erythians, you're welcome to take up the challenge yourselves. Koresh's crystalline body shimmered with barely restrained frustration. And if humanity chooses to misuse this knowledge, to upset the delicate balance of the galaxy? The song requires harmony, Elena replied firmly. Misuse would destroy us as surely as it would anyone else. That is why we will tread carefully. If you or anyone else doubts that, you are welcome to observe our progress, but you will not control it. Koresh's image flickered for a moment as he processed her words. Before he could respond, a second holographic projection appeared, this time of the Eldarin elder. His serene expression brought immediate calm to the tense exchange. Ambassador Vargas speaks wisely, the elder said, his deep voice carrying a weight that silenced Koresh. The song tests all who approach it, and it is not to be hoarded or wielded as a weapon. Humanity has shown humility and courage in unlocking its first notes. Perhaps there is something for us all to learn from them. Koresh glowered but remained silent. The elder inclined his head toward Elena. Ambassador, I suggest you convene with the Galactic Union Council upon our return. The implications of the Vault's reawakening must be discussed, and humanity's role in this new chapter made clear. Elena nodded. We'll be ready. The Council Hall of the Galactic Union was packed to capacity when the delegation returned. Representatives from every species leaned forward in their seats, eager to hear the account of what had transpired in the Vault of Origin. Elena stood at the center of the chamber, flanked by Dr. Cole and a handful of other human experts, The pressure was palpable, but she kept her composure, knowing that the fate of humanity's standing in the galaxy depended on what she said next. "We went to the Vault of Origin not to claim power, but to seek understanding," Elena began, her voice clear and strong. "What we found was a legacy of both greatness and tragedy. The Erythians achieved wonders beyond our imagining, but their hubris brought their downfall. The song they left behind is not a weapon or a tool, it's a test of unity, balance, and wisdom." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Humanity has taken its first step toward understanding this legacy, but we cannot do it alone. The song belongs to all of us, and if we are to honor the Erythians, we must approach it together." The chamber erupted in murmurs, some skeptical, others intrigued. Koresh, predictably, rose to his feet. "And who decides how this song is explored? Humanity alone?" Elena met his glare without flinching. "No. Humanity will lead where it must and follow where it should. But this is a responsibility for all of us. The song requires harmony, and that is not something any one species can achieve alone." The Ellerin elder stood, his presence quieting the room. "The humans speak truth. Let us not repeat the mistakes of the past. The Erythian legacy is a gift, but it is also a warning. If we are to unlock its secrets, we must do so together." The chamber grew quiet, the weight of the moment settling on everyone present. Slowly, the murmurs shifted to nods of agreement, the first fragile notes of a new harmony beginning to form. For the first time, humanity was not just a part of the Galactic Union, they were its bridge to a shared future. And as Elena stood in that chamber, she felt the resonance of the song within her, a reminder that the journey was far from over but that they would not walk it alone.